Hey everybody, good afternoon, and welcome to Tyngsborough TV. This is a special edition of Tyngsborough TV Live. I am Town Media Director Steve Brogan, and you can watch this broadcast on the many places that we put it on the various pages on Facebook. And if you're watching on Facebook, feel free to chime in and ask questions if you'd like. And also on YouTube, on Comcast 8, Verizon 29 here in Tyngsborough, and at tyngsboroughma.gov. So the reason for this broadcast today is kind of a little elections wrap-up. I've got our town clerk, Joanne Schiffers, here to talk about the results and how everything went yesterday. So I figured it'd be kind of fun to just sort of chat. We'll go over the numbers. The numbers were incredible as far as turnout, so that was pretty cool. So without further ado, I'll introduce Joanne. Joanne, how are you?
Tired.
Yeah, I bet you are. You had a long day, huh?
It's been a long 3 weeks, actually.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a very good day. Turnout was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
In case you didn't see it posted earlier, it was 61.3% turnout, which is really good.
Amazing, yeah.
And considering how bad the weather was and the pouring rain
all day,
that I was quite surprised to see that consistently all day that there were really no gaps in the people coming in to vote during the day. And which is really good for all the people who work, because it certainly makes the day go by fast and makes them feel that all their time is worthwhile. And so I give a big shout out, thank you to all of the election workers who helped and worked all day yesterday, and those people who worked for us during the early voting period as well. And I'd like to thank all of the voters who did come out yesterday and who also voted during the early voting period.
All 5,482 of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was another part of the story, though. The early voting was pretty interesting. You had, what was it, about 700 or 800 early voters?
There were about 850 early voters.
Okay.
And there were over 200 absentee ballots as well.
Oh, wow. So you had, before this election even started, you had over 1,000 votes already in.
Right.
Wow.
And the interesting thing is that, at least in a couple of precincts, the difficulty that we have with the ballot for September is it's a very large, long ballot, as people who voted noticed. And any of the absentee ballots and the early voting ballots are folded. And in this case, they're folded 4 times.
Okay. And that's because of the envelope that they're put in?
Because of the envelope that they have to be kept in.
Okay.
And so frequently when we have ballots of that length that are folded, they cause machine problems because they get stuck in the machines.
And this year was no exception, was it?
Well, 2 of the precincts had no problem because they processed the early voting and absentee, well, the early voting ballots anyway, first thing in the morning.
Okay.
And so they hadn't, well, not before people started coming in, but before there was a large turnout.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that there weren't as many ballots in the machine to cause the backup. So those went fine. And there were a couple of problems with the jams in 2 of the precincts, but nothing significant. We did have problems with the machines that was related to weather.
Really?
Because what happened was in one precinct, a voter came in and had her wet umbrella near the ballot, so the ballot got wet.
Oh, no. In
the process of putting it into the machine, it got stuck.
Okay.
The wet ballot isn't going through. In another precinct, I spoke with one of the election workers, and her take on it was that people held their ballots against their wet jackets.
Oh, no. So that messed them up,
caused
too.
smudging.
Oh, no. Really?
In the ink. So that was causing problems. The machine wasn't reading them.
Huh. That's not even a problem I would have imagined could have happened.
Either
wow.
did I.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were a number of issues with the equipment that were principally weather related.
Really? Wow. So, I mean, they're in their machines, and they're like copy machines. Basically, they're finicky when it comes to the paper if it's not fed in properly, or obviously if it's moist or wet. So, what happens? I think you mentioned one of them got torn? One of the ballots actually got torn?
One of them was torn, and in that case, what happens is that torn ballot, the piece of the of the ballot was stuck in the reader.
Yeah.
So nothing would go through.
Okay.
So in that case, we call our company that supplies the equipment to
Yep.
us in the first place, and we get a replacement machine.
Oh, okay. And how quickly are they able to get that out to you?
They got it to us about 45 minutes.
Oh, that's excellent. Wow.
They're
That's
in
amazing.
Salem, New Hampshire, and
Okay.
when I called, excuse me, the woman there did say that, excuse me again, it was happening all over the state.
Okay, so this wasn't isolated.
No, this
to
was
just
not
us.
a Tyngsborough problem. This was statewide because of the weather.
Okay.
And she said the exact same thing, that wet ballots will not feed through.
Huh.
So anybody who happened to, I mean, certainly weren't doing it on purpose, but your jacket is wet and you've got a ballot, and it's sometimes inevitable that the ballot's going to get wet.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: is there a provision for, like, so say the one that got jammed up in there and torn? Can the person just go get a new ballot and fill out their ballot and come back and
they
just
can
destroy that
either
one?
do that, or it's a hand count at the end of the night.
Oh, okay. So you'd set
So
it aside and count
what
it later.
happens is there's a side pocket in the box,
Okay.
and you open that pocket up, and anything that won't go through the machine goes in there, because sometimes there are cases where the machine won't read the ballot.
Yeah.
Because of an arbitrary mark,
Or like an errant stray line or something
your
like
marker slid,
that. Okay.
and it's just in a spot with it's not identifying a candidate,
Okay.
and the machine will not read it.
So the machine actually looks at the entire sheet of paper,
Yes.
not just where the dots are.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't realize that.
And then there are cases where people cross out on the ballot what
Oh,
they
yeah, I've heard of that.
initially voted,
They put in the wrong person, or they
and
change their
then
mind, maybe.
pick somebody else, and then the machine won't read that either. That's considered an overvote.
Oh, okay.
Now, in some cases, the person doesn't want to get a new ballot and vote again.
So they do have that option to go get a new ballot and
Mhm.
okay.
Yep, because
I didn't know
the one that's overvoted is considered a spoiled ballot,
Oh, okay.
and you get 3 chances.
Oh, okay.
So you can spoil. If you spoil the third one, that's it.
You're stuck.
You don't get any more chances.
Okay. But you get 3 tries, so that's good.
That's right.
All right.
So you should be able
Like
to get
baseball.
it right by the third time.
Right, hopefully, yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So obviously the weather caused technical difficulties, but we got through it. Everybody got to get their votes
That's
in
right.
clearly. So that's good. Obviously the rain, you can't plan for that, and you can't plan for the fact that people are going to have wet coats. I wouldn't have even thought of that. That's amazing that
It
you know.
had never. Well, I think this is probably the first time that we've had such a rainy, miserable
Yeah.
day on election day.
Yeah, usually it's kind of nice.
Because
actually.
sometimes, even if it's cloudy, it's not pouring like it
Mhm.
did yesterday.
Mhm.
As I don't remember it having a day that bad.
Mhm.
And then we did have some lines in the morning.
Okay. I
Not-
heard it was quite busy. Yeah.
Nothing substantial. I mean, nothing that we couldn't catch up from. It was a case of people would have to wait 5 minutes instead of just breezing in and out. But
Mhm.
that's the nature of the beast when you have an election that's extremely important to people.
Mhm.
And a lot of people wanted to vote, obviously, before work.
Mhm.
And I know over at the elementary school, they were lining up at 10 minutes to 7. And
Wow. Really?
they were at they were at Norris Road as well.
Oh wow.
Because the goal is, okay, I can leave and get there 10 to 7. As soon as they open the door at 7, I'll be, one of the first ones in.
Right, and in and out. Yeah, you can get off to your day.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a good problem to have, where so many people show up, and if you got to wait a couple minutes, it kind of is what it is.
Right. It's not, we don't have the issue that some places do, where you have a line going around a building.
Right, like down in Florida and places like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
the most you'll have to wait is 7 minutes or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you came at 7:15 or 7:20, you probably wouldn't wait at all.
Mm-hmm. And really, what they're waiting for is a voting booth to open up, right? Because you only have so many.
No, because the polls officially don't open till 7.
No, that's what I mean. Once 7 o'clock hits,
Right.
If the polls are full, they're just waiting for a booth to open
Right.
up to go. Can you? So here's a kind
Or
of maybe
getting through the check-in line.
Oh, that too, right. I could see the bottleneck there, yeah. So here's a funny question. If you go through the check-in line, there's no booths open, can you just like stand up against the wall and do your vote there? Is that
It's up
cool?
to you.
Yeah?
Sure.
So if you're not worried about it, you can just,
Right.
Okay. So you could get through it that way maybe. That's not a bad way to avoid the
Yeah,
waiting for the booths.
Similar
yeah.
to early voting when we only had the 4 booths and
Mhm.
people were just using the counters.
Okay. Right, because we had the early voting here, and there was quite a few times there was
Right.
a good line of people waiting for everything. So interesting. So yeah. So Tom, at least everything went fairly well. I mean, for the most
It went
part.
fairly well. It was
Yeah.
a long day,
Yeah. Yeah.
long 3 weeks. But
Boy, yeah. I'll bet you're glad it's over, though.
Uh-huh.
I think we're all glad this election is over. It's been so the energy and the rage from everybody, you know,
Right.
from both sides, and just I mean, I'm glad it's over just for the phone calls and the emails and all that
well,
stuff.
it feels
but I mean,
like
you know,
this
it's part of the
election went on
process.
forever.
It really did, yeah. Seemed like it lasted a lot longer than normal. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. It's just it is what it is. It's politics. So some interesting things happened though in the on the actual votes as well. I thought the one that stood out to me was the fact that Senator Elizabeth Warren, she won her seat back. However, in Tyngsborough, she actually lost,
Right.
which I think is fascinating. I was like, really? That's wow. You know, it sort of shocked me a little bit. Yeah.
But Tyngsborough is not so much reflected on these results, but
Mhm.
frequently it's a Republican votes
More
Republican.
conservative leaning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that it, you know, because she won by such a resounding
Well, like
victory in the state.
Right. Like I
know.
said earlier when we were coming in here, I was so tired last night, I really didn't even look at the results.
Mhm.
I mean, all I said was, okay, the numbers are okay, I'm going home.
Mhm.
And I didn't look at them until just before coming in here to talk to you.
Hmm.
And so I was kind of surprised at that. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, kind of interesting.
Mhm.
And I mean, you know, some of the things I think they kind of went the way we figured. You know, we figured Elizabeth Warren's going to get in. It's a Democratic state; it tends to
Right.
go to the Democrat.
Right.
You know, Colleen Gary, she won
She's
pretty handily.
extremely popular in both
Mhm.
Drake and Tyngsborough.
Mhm.
She has worked for years for both of the,
Mhm.
the towns.
24 years, yeah, and she's
And
very well liked. and
She
that's
is
one
well liked.
huge
she's,
thing for her.
She's very visible. She
Mhm.
attends virtually everything that she can.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep, she's not afraid to go to stuff. That's
no,
for sure.
and she's been very supportive to everybody.
Yeah.
And any event, she's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Pretty interesting. Actually, why don't we let's pull up the results while we're chatting about it. We can everybody can look at it. If you haven't seen it already, they are available at tyngsboroughmaid.gov. You can go there right on the front page under news. It's the second link down under the Veterans post for Veterans Day. But you can take a look at the results. So interesting though, definitely. I mean, like I say, the one that really stuck out to me was the Elizabeth Warren, Jeff Deal senator race. That was kind of interesting, and how she actually lost by just under 300 votes here in town. I mean, 61% turnout, though. That's incredible. Has that ever happened in your time in Tyngsborough, that we got that many votes?
we did. Trying to think. I just looked it up too this morning. I think 66 or 67%. 2 years ago.
Oh, really? For the presidential election, we got that
Right.
many. Okay.
Oh no! In the presidential November election, we had almost 78.
Wow, really? So it has been higher than this. This isn't.
Yes.
Okay.
But like 2 years prior to that, so 2014,
Mhm.
I think it was like 66%.
Oh, okay. So this isn't completely out of the norm. I thought it was kind of just like, holy cow, we got that many people to turn out and vote. That's awesome. Of a town.
So
of,
it was good.
yeah, of a town of 11 and a half or so thousand people.
Right.
And 8,900 registered voters. That's impressive. I think, anyways. I think that's pretty good. Governor race. Obviously, that was an easy one. I think we kind of all
Oh
kinda
yeah,
figured Charlie
I think
was going to
pretty
win.
much everybody assumed
Yeah,
that.
he seems like a really good guy. We got to meet Karen Polito. She
Right.
came in to give us the grant.
$2.5 million.
Yep, $2.5 million for the MassWorks grant. So that was really cool. More Healy, no surprise really. Though again, I mean, the numbers were strong on the Republican side too. I feel like
Right.
just the so many people wanted to vote in this thing, and it was, everybody was thinking all the Democrats are going to come out and vote like crazy. All the Republicans did too.
Exactly.
They really did. They
Equal sides of the aisle.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Secretary of State, I mean, I feel like Galvin's kind of got that on lock fairly well. He's been doing it for so long, unless he does something crazy. Deb Goldberg, that actually was closer than kind of I thought it might be for treasurer. She only won by 900, or 850-ish votes.
True.
Somewhere in there, so that was fairly close. Again, strong numbers on both sides, though. Auditor, Susan Bump, she won again. Same thing here in town, but not by much. At least here in Tyngsborough, only a couple hundred votes. The Lori Trahan, Rick Green. So again, there's another one. She won fairly handily, but at the same time, Rick Green was strong, at least in Tyngsborough, as far as numbers go. He did pretty good. 2153 to her 3085. So still a pretty strong turnout. Counselors, Senator General Courts, Ed Kennedy won, and again another one that was pretty close. Kennedy won. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what the actual final numbers total were, but
So the district.
yeah,
I don't know.
I forget. He was up by a decent amount, anyways. It wasn't like really close, but it wasn't way far off either. I don't think. But again, fairly close there as well. The Colleen Gary race. I mean, that I kind of, 3300 to 1861. So she definitely did really well. But as we were saying, she's very visible and well liked. So, what also is interesting too is if you as I'm going down these numbers, there's not a lot of people that skipped voting. You've got your totals 5,300, 5,400, 5,400. Of a total of, what did we say, it was 5,482. So there wasn't a lot of people skipping not voting for a particular race at all. So yeah, definitely. Everybody was definitely voting for their candidates. Marion Ryan, of course, but she wasn't running against anybody, so that was a pretty easy one for her, I think. There was a lot of blanks in that one. Excuse me, that's one of the few that had quite a few blanks. Dick Howe did amazing. 3281 to 1391. And he's another one. I mean, very visible. People, people like him. You know what I mean? He does a great job.
Right.
Yeah. So that one didn't surprise me at all either. On the Greater Lowell School Committee, so we've got a new Greater Lowell School Committee member. He lost in Tyngsborough by a couple hundred votes, but he won overall to get on the committee, Matt Sheehan. So he's now.
Oh, really?
Yep, he's now one of your school committee members. He won in Drake-it. Got enough votes over there, so he was down by a couple hundred here, roughly. But and there was a lot of. Wait, no, is that write-ins? Oh, excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong number. No, he did win in Tyngsborough. I apologize. 2,054 to 1671. That was the blanks. That was the 1800. I wonder why the blanks on that on the school committee, Greater Lowell School Committee one. That's interesting.
This is a change in how we have voted for the regional school committee.
Okay.
From the past.
Yeah.
In the past, it's just been a local. So that on our town election, you would see the position of school committee, Greater Lowell Vogue. And it would be only Tyngsborough residents voting for George Tatsios.
Okay.
Now, Lowell sued to get, feeling that they weren't getting an equal vote.
Oh, so that's why the change.
So now the regional school committee, it will be on the state ballot every 4 years.
Oh, that's interesting. So everybody in the community.
Everybody in the district.
Okay.
So Dunstable, Drake-it, Lowell, and Tyngsborough.
Okay.
All get a chance to vote because never before have we had a chance to vote for the Drake-it school representative.
Okay.
And a lot of blanks on that one.
Mm-hmm.
My explanation would be that I don't know either of these people.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
So
yeah, good point.
I don't have. It doesn't seem like I can make an educated decision on who to vote for because I don't know anything about either of those people. And obviously the blanks on the next one, the next opening position, there was nobody, and there were probably write-ins in each precinct,
Mm-hmm.
but those 7 write-ins that you're seeing in precinct 4 right now,
Mm-hmm.
they're a vote for Sam Jones, a vote for Sue Brady, a vote for, I mean, they're all pretty much all single votes.
Oh, okay.
So those will all end up being blanks.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting.
But so again, this is a change in how we have ever voted for the regional school committee position, and this is the way it will be from now on. You will be able to vote for the Drake rep, the Lowell reps, Dunstable rep.
Interesting. Certainly makes campaigning for them that much more difficult because now they have to focus on the whole district as opposed to just their town. So that's kind of.
Or at least hope that you're strong enough in your town that you'll
carry the others. Yeah, that makes sense too, right? Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, you had George O'Hare get elected. Fred Bahu, I believe, was the incumbent, I think, if I remember correctly. I thought he was on. So it looks like he lost, at least in Tyngsborough anyways. And again, these are just the Tyngsborough numbers. These aren't, these aren't the total district numbers. But George Tatsios, he wasn't running against anybody, so that was an easy one for him. The questions were interesting. So the nurse question got voted down pretty handily. That people didn't want that.
They conceded that pretty early.
Yeah, that was. I turned on.
night.
I think it was about 8:30, and they were already like,
they
"Oh,
were
that's
already
it."
conceding it.
Yeah, which
Right.
is interesting. That's one of those ones. I mean, I could go on for a while about that one, but I feel like legislating that kind of a thing where I feel like that wasn't the right way to go about it necessarily, my personal opinion. But
one of the things that I wondered about was there are hospitals of all different sizes and all different locations, and does one law fit them all?
right, yeah, you can't. Right, it's not a one size fits all type thing. Yeah.
Was kind of the way I was looking at it, but I don't know. Obviously, there were people who voted yes for it, and
Right. Yeah.
so they felt obviously differently.
Yeah. I feel like too that could have gone, if it had gotten approved, could have gone really wrong for people. Like you show up at the emergency room, all the nurses have hit their quota. Like, oh, what do you do now? Like this guy's something's wrong here, and we got to get him in, but there's no nurses available. Like, what do you do now? Wait for a nurse to get called in or something, or break the law. Potentially just to treat somebody. So I don't know. I think that one could have gone horribly wrong for a lot of people. But then the Citizens Commission, that got approved, it looks like.
Right.
So that's interesting that people seem to get on that. I'm trying to remember what the exact wording of that one was. I don't recall exactly. And then the gender identity discrimination, I had a feeling that one was going to win, to keep it
I did
it
too.
the way it was. Why?
I think the question too was about corporations not being treated the same as humans for
That's
people
right. Yes. Yep.
for campaign contributions or something like
Yeah,
that.
it had to do with campaign contributions.
And
you're right.
limiting campaign contributions from. So.
Yeah. So interesting to see these all go through. So it was, to say the least, it was an interesting election. I think turnout was great. Obviously 61.8% or 0.3% is pretty good.
Right.
Especially for a midterm election where a lot of times people stay home. They don't tend to come out to these.
Exactly.
So that's pretty encouraging to see. It's nice to see people getting involved in their civic duties.
In spite of the pouring rain.
And in spite of the rain, right? The weather was the major factor, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So pretty cool stuff. So well done on everybody out there for getting out to vote. I think that was fantastic. I think, obviously we did our best to try to tell people. The one other piece of confusion I feel like, and it seems like it happens every time we have an election, is where do I go vote? Everybody seems, not everybody, but a bunch of people show up at town hall going, where do I go? Where do I go? Just remember where if you're on one side of the river or the other, that delineates which polling location you go to, whether you're going to the elementary school or you're going to the middle school. So if you're on the side of the middle school, you go to, the west side, or east side, excuse me, you go to the middle school. If you're on the west side, you go to the elementary
Right.
school. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to figure out where exactly I'm supposed to go to vote. That's how you figure it out. I don't even know how many people I had to tell that coming into town hall. It was kind of funny.
There were quite a few.
Yeah, I think I even told you, like, I should get a penny for every time somebody comes in and asks me where I go.
And also keep in mind that we do not vote at town hall.
Right, no voting at
And
town hall.
haven't for 3 to 4 years. So we don't vote at town hall.
Right. The caveat being
Except
right. Yeah.
early voting,
Exactly. Yeah.
which occurs 2 years only. So it's the November election in the even years.
Mm-hmm.
So 18, the next one will be 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
and that's going to be crazy because it's going to be presidential
Insane.
election. Yeah, so we'll probably have just as many people showing up doing the early voting.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think we'll hit the same numbers next in 2020 for elections?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I think this particular election was an indication
Mm-hmm.
that you have people who are becoming engaged
Mm-hmm. Right.
and much more interested, and so I think you're going to see a lot more of that in the next few years.
Yeah, I think you're right. Especially looking at the national stuff too, with all the flips.
Right.
From Republicans to Democrats and stuff. Though it was interesting that there was this talk of the blue wave and all this. It didn't really end up being as big of a wave, I think, as Democrats would have liked.
Right.
Though they did win the House, so that's obviously something.
It's a step.
Yeah, it's definitely a
For
step
them.
in their direction, right? But at the same time, they lost more seats in the Senate.
Right.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what the governors. There was a lot of Republican governors that won. There was a few Democrats as well, but quite a few Republican governors that held on or took seats. So that was kind of interesting as well. Not that changes the the House and the Senate, but even still, it's support
Right.
one way or the other. So interesting to see the numbers. So there's all this the election results. We shared them out last night. As soon as I got them, I shared them out.
Right.
It was a late night for you. I didn't get those till was it 10:15. So by the time
Quarter
you
to
got
11,
through.
I think.
Yeah, was it that late? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I think I was half asleep at that point.
Probably.
I was trying to share it out. I realized I shared them out backwards. It went 3, 2, 1 instead of 1, 2, 3.
I
but
know, I
yeah.
noticed that, but I
Yeah.
said, that's okay, you can still read it.
Exactly. You can still read it. So, but we got them out as fast as we could. But yeah, if you want to check them out in more detail or look at them electronically, if you didn't see the stuff on Facebook, or was it Facebook Facebook,
Yeah.
all the pages I shared it out to. You can go to the website, tyngsboroughma.gov. You can grab the election results. They're right on the front page. On the news section, you can see the results. Go to to see all the numbers. So, pretty cool stuff. Again, awesome job by everybody going out to vote. I think that shows some excellent
Absolutely.
civic duty and pride in their community and country. Yeah, and you guys, I mean, a fantastic job, I think, by our town
Thanks.
clerk. You're
Thanks.
welcome. And everybody else who worked the polls, all the early voting, the magistrates,
The clerks that helped.
the clerks that came in and helped you with the early
Right.
voting. Thank you. And yeah, I think it was nice to see all that extra help and just how many people were this interested in this election,
Right.
given it was midterms. So pretty cool stuff. So I think it's a sign of the future things to come.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
That's all. I don't have to do this again till May.
Hooray! On that note, don't forget pre-town meeting coming up this Thursday.
Thursday.
Yep. And then next Tuesday is your regular town meeting, or the special town meeting. There's a number of important things. Again, all that stuff is on the website, so don't forget to check that stuff out if you have, if you're so inclined. Definitely something you'll want to pay attention to because the Tyngsborough Country Club thing and all that
Right.
stuff.
There's a lot of important things on there.
There are a number of important things that are definitely coming up, so definitely go check that out. And of course, we'll be all there broadcasting. The pre-town meeting will be broadcast, so you can watch that ahead of time. It'll be here in the community room at Town Hall, so if you want to attend that, ask your questions. It's always nice to do that early because then you don't have to ask them on town meeting floor, and it actually helps to make the meeting go faster. So that's kind of nice.
That's a good goal.
Yes, it is. Definitely a good goal. Not that we don't want you to ask your questions at town meeting. Obviously, that's an important thing. You can do that. So you're right, too. But it helps to get them out of the way because then, like I said, it makes it go quicker. So kind of nice. So anyways, thank you again, Joanne.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks again to everybody who came out, and thanks to everybody who participated and worked.
Excellent. Excellent. So on that note, folks, I got nothing else. Have a great day. Good job. And we'll see you all on Friday on Thursday with the pre-town meeting, and then on Friday with the Friday wrap-up. So take it easy. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.